Apparently, Joe Biden is going to end the U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led genocide of Yemen. How brave.
It will be coordinated across all elements of our national security, with Secretary Austin and Secretary Blinken working in close cooperation. And while this review is taking place, we'll be stopping any planned troop withdrawals from Germany. We're also stepping up our...
Did you hear that? He just said that we're going to stop any planned troop withdrawals from Germany. So, I'm pretty sure we already got Hitler, right? We already got Hitler. So we're reinvading Syria, we're reinvading Somalia, and we're going to reinvade Germany. This is supposed to be the great foreign policy shift conversation, debate, or speech.
Diplomacy to end the war in Yemen, a war which has created a humanitarian and strategic catastrophe. I've asked my...
Created a humanitarian and strategic catastrophe. You just need to say humanitarian.
Middle East team to ensure our support for the United Nations-led initiative to impose a ceasefire, open humanitarian challenge, and restore long-dormant peace talks. This morning, Secretary Blinken appointed Tim Linderkin, a career foreign policy officer, as our special envoy.
Oh, career foreign policy officer, Tim Linderkin. Hey, have no fear, America. Tim Linderkin is on the job.
To the Yemen conflict, and I appreciate him doing this. Tim has lifelong experience in the region, and he'll work with the UN envoy and all parties of the conflict to push for a diplomatic resolution. And Tim's diplomacy will be bolstered by USAID working to ensure that humanitarian aid is reaching the Yemeni people who are suffering unendurable devastation. This war has to end.
It's unendurable. This war has to end. It's good rhetoric.
And to underscore our commitment, we are ending all American support for offensive operations in the war in Yemen.
There it is. We're ending all... we're... Offensive operations in Yemen, all offensive. So do we have defensive operations? We're going to protect Saudi Arabia's bases in Yemen, so that would be the defensive things. We're going to protect we'll have counterterrorism, we'll have training, military advisors, drone bases. Offensive operations, that sounds like a qualifier, Joe Biden.
Including relevant arms sales.
Including relevant arms sales. What? So are we ending arms sales to the UAE and Saudi Arabia or not? Are we ending the arms sales? Are we ending the war in Yemen or not? Just the offensive operations. This is what Obama did when it came to the Iraq war. He said we were going to get the combat troops out. We got the combat troops out, still occupying Iraq, still got...
At the same time, Saudi Arabia faces missile attacks, UAV strikes, and other threats from Iranian-supplied forces in multiple countries.
Iranian-supplied forces? You mean the Houthis? Are we still at war with Yemen or not? Jesus fucking Christ. He was saying the right shit, now he's saying all these coded qualifiers. It's making me say, devil's in the details. Show me the plan. Show me what you're actually going to do. And I'm not shocked that Joe Biden's going to pull out of Yemen. He promised this over and over and over again in the campaign. But it was like one of those things he added on. It was like, hey, Joe, here's one little progressive thing. Why don't you stop the genocide? Hey, Joe, there's mass murder that the American government is responsible. Well, hey, Joe, why don't you stop the American mass murders? And then also stop genociding the Yemeni people and stop being allies with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That goes against the war on terror. How courageous, how brave. The genocide in Yemen is us siding with Saudi Arabia, the United States siding with ISIS, siding with Al-Qaeda. Even Al-Shabaab has got the sense not to side with ISIS, but not the United States. Well, apparently, in Syria, we're still, hey, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, don't you worry. We're still your allies in Syria. We got to overthrow Assad, so we'll be your buddies for now. But apparently, when it comes to the Yemeni genocide, America is saying no Al-Qaeda, no ISIS, no Saudi Arabia. We are not going to support your terrorism against innocent. No, no. And the fact that he's saying that we're still going to protect Saudi Arabia, we're still going to protect Saudi Arabia because, you know, the oil and the business and the rich people and what the fuck ever. I have no idea why Saudi Arabia and the American government is so damn close. Because Saudi Arabia is the nation state that is most responsible for 9/11. Not Afghanistan, not Pakistan, not Uzbekistan, not Syria, Yemen, not Venezuela, not Cameroon, not Somalia, not Palestine. Saudi Arabia. 9/11. Why are we friends with this fucking nation? Why are we friends with this nation?
We're going to continue to support and help Saudi Arabia defend its sovereignty and its territorial integrity and its people. We also face a crisis of more than 80 million displaced people suffering all around the world. The United States...
All right, so then he's going to go on and talk about some other things. So those are the comments about Yemen. The whole thing of Yemen, we're going to stop it, okay? So he's announcing it. He had promised it a bunch of times. You know, it's all teleprompter. Who knows what his actual... But this is a good indication about the Yemeni genocide. I had 5 wars I want to get out of: Palestine, Somalia, Cameroon, and Venezuela. And Yemen, the genocide, that's the obvious one. Quit, hey, America, stop. You know that mass murder genocide where you're just murdering people, just killing people over and over again? Stop doing that. You need to stop doing that. This fucking forever war goes on and on, my friend. And then people started killing, and then they kept on killing, and they never stopped killing because this is the war that goes on and on. It goes on and on, my friend. And then people started bombing, and then started stealing and looting, and started killing because this is a war that goes on and on, my friend. So I'm excited. I don't believe that this, you know, means anything. It doesn't mean a change in American foreign policy. This was like just an outlier. This is just one thing that was so glaringly obvious. So when it comes to Somalia, Cameroon, Venezuela, Palestine, he's still, you know, Germany, we're re-invading Germany, so my God. And then all the qualifiers. We have no idea what the hell Joe is actually going to do because we're just going to stop the offensive operations, so the combat operations. But meanwhile, like in Iraq, we're going to have counterterrorism forces, security forces, private contractors. You got to protect the embassy, protect the military bases. You need a couple drone bases too. I mean, why the hell not? So in an offensive operation, so we're going to protect like, you know, Saudi Arabian bases in Yemen, or we're just going to be in, you know, in Saudi Arabia. And so there's a lot of qualifiers. He said offensive operations. He also says no relevant arms. So no relevant arms sales, what does that mean? Why would anybody buy non-relevant arms sales? Hey, this arms sale's not really relevant. This arms sale isn't really, what does that mean? So we're not going to give them nukes anymore. We're just going to give them a bunch of AK-47s. That's it. What is that? What's relevant mean? Relevant versus non-relevant, offensive versus non-offensive operations versus defensive. Oh, you're offended. But you have Iranian-supplied forces, too. There's another code for the Houthis. So, you know, we need to defend Saudi Arabia, defensive operations from the Iranian-supplied forces. And we're not going to give relevant arms to Saudi Arabia. So, I have no idea what Joe's actually going to do. The fact that he's saying all this shit out loud, this will begin the peace talks, begin the peace process, and hopefully it does end our involvement. But we are fueling their tanks. We are giving them weapons. We're giving them money. We're giving them, you know, military advisors. We are actually doing these dynamic things where we're refueling Saudi Arabian planes. We're giving them F-15s. We're giving them Abrams tanks. And we're refueling their F-15s in the air so they can go right back and, you know, go bomb Yemen again and again and again. Let's stop all that. Let's just not be allies with Saudi Arabia no more. Hey, Saudi Arabia, get your shit together. Get your shit together. It's a theocracy. You're beheading women just for showing a little ankle. Women just started driving. Saudi Arabia, get your shit together. You're like a third world. You're back in, you know what, the bronze there. You're like, my God, this is... I'd like to go to Germany. I'd like to go to Iceland. You know, there's Bolivia. There's kind of a, you know, never Saudi Arabia. I would never, ever. What is in Saudi Arabia that I would want? Oh, a whole bunch of desert. No, there's plenty of desert in the San Luis Valley. I don't need to go to Saudi Arabia to see some more desert. And then, last thing but not least, Joe Biden is just putting out the fire he started. Joe Biden started, Barack Obama and Joe Biden's the one that started this fucking Yemeni genocide 2015. Donald Trump escalated the fuck out of it. Yeah, Mr. Peace candidate, Mr. Anti-War, right? That fucker. But Biden and Obama's the ones that started this shit. Biden and Obama started, so they're just putting out the fire that they started. Oh, okay, great, Joe Biden. Okay, let's give him all the credit in the world. Let's assume none of those qualifiers are actual qualifiers. We're actually just going to stop the war, stop the killing. We're just going to, you know, get the hell out. That's still Joe Biden putting out his own fire. Okay, so you're the, you know, the firebug that goes around starting the fires, and then you put the fire out. Now we're supposed to call you a hero? How about stop starting the fires to begin with? Just stop starting the fires to begin with. You're not a hero for stopping a fire that you had started. I guess it's worse to let the fire keep on blazing. So at least, you know, in the middle of, you're like, maybe this ain't right. So yeah, how courageous, how brave. He put out a fire he started. He put out the fire that he began. Good. Because if he didn't correct it, I mean, Donald vetoed the Democrats who stopped. Incredible. It's fucking incredible. Yeah, and that was another thing. The Democrats pushed it. He didn't have a choice on this matter. So, here's hoping that it'll actually turn out correctly. But when it comes to American foreign policy, I have. Just look at Palestine, Somalia, Cameroon, and Venezuela. Okay? People are paying attention to Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. They're not paying attention to Cameroon. Look at Cameroon. Look at Somalia. And the shit in Venezuela. So he's still pushing for war in all these fucking corners of the world. The empire's still strong. It's still a war of conquest and empire, not a war against terror. And you know what? I finally come around on the terrorism as a terrible fucking tactic. We see, you know, we're still going after ACAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula, which, you know, that's somewhat reassuring. We're only supposed to go after the perpetrators of 9/11, which is Al-Qaeda and their affiliates. Anybody else is not in our scope of what the war aims were supposed to be. So there you go. That's, you know, Joe Biden on Yemen. Who knows what it's going to